today. Luckily, we don't have no appointments today. We're gonna have a lot of stuff going on. We're working in the machines. It's so good. So hopefully everything is going very well. Me siento muy feliz, me siento muy contento. Por la oportunidad que Dios me da, ¿verdad? De seguir aquí, haciendo enlaces en vivo de YouTube Live. Unfortunately, but yeah, I don't go to the gym today and yesterday. We had a lot of stuff going on. It's kind of crazy stuff. I hope everything is gonna be good. I know I believe in God. I'm trusting Him. Everything is gonna be like perfect, Some couple situation going on, but I have faith in God because He is under control. He is under control. We're gonna have everything on His hand. Thank you guys for being over here. Thank you for being part of the YouTube channel. Like I say, today is gonna be a great day, and we have faith in God. We have faith in God. He's gonna do the best for us. He's gonna do the best for us. Si vamos listos ya. Camino al trabajo. En camino al trabajo, we're gonna be ready for work today. I saw the news today in the morning. I saw the news. To be honest with you, I don't really see a good news. News always are bad news. News always are bad news. But you have to keep trusting in God. You have to keep trusting in Him. He's gonna do the best for each of everyone. And we have to pray. We have to pray God. We have to believe in Him. That everything is gonna be on the wheels. It's kind of hard for me. I have some couple limitations over here. To go some specific places. That made my life. That made my life kind of hard because at this moment I was supposed to be right now somewhere, and it's kind of sad at the same time because but one day I'm gonna have the opportunity to be everywhere. God's fair, He's gonna give me the opportunity to be, going everywhere, as a YouTuber. I'm gonna have the opportunity to go different countries, I'm gonna go different countries. Africa, Asia, Spain, in Europe, and many other different continents. Doing what? Yeah, helping people. That's our main concern over here. Is we need help a lot of people around the world. I don't know who knows, only God knows what He's gonna do with us. But I believe He's gonna do the right stuff for us. He has the control on every single aspect of our life. And because He created us, God created us. And He had the power, to change every single thing. He had the power. He had the power to create every single thing. And hopefully, God had to take control on any trouble. I believe in Him, and I know I'm human. And human, like they're propense to fail sometimes, and we do fail every time because we are not perfect, but we had a good thing on our favor, is because we have forgiveness. God forgive us for everything. If we ask Him for forgiveness, if we surrender ourselves to Him, He's willing to forgive our sins. And I want you to keep this in mind. Let's believe in Him. Let's trust in Him. Let's count on Him all the time. Don't forget about Him. Never, always put Him in your mouth, in your heart, in your mind. Because I don't know, man. I don't know, but the only thing that I can say is God is good all the time. No matter the situation, it's no matter what situation we're gonna be in, we have to say thank you to our God, thank you to the Lord, thank you to Him, thank you for everything that He do for us, no matter what. Even in that thing, even if everything that happened in our life is good or bad, we have to say thank you. Even in the worst situation, I think we have to believe in Him. We have to pray to Him. We have to do what we have to do, because God is always gonna be under control. He's always gonna be under control. He's not gonna let us, suffering for a long time. I know sometimes we have to suffering a little bit to recognize our humanity, because we are not gods, we are humans, and we depend on Him, and we have to count with Him, count on Him, like we cannot go through the life, just thinking we can do everything, ain't nobody gonna be like us, no, we have to be, humble, we have to be humble all the time. We don't have to humiliate other people for thinking, oh, I'm better than this, I'm better than that. No, God is better than us. Remember, God is better than us, and always gonna be something bigger on top of us, and that is God. So we have to trust in Him. Trust in Him, believe in Him, and praise Him. Other than that, I'm right here driving Southern California. Southern California. Thinking about a lot of stuff, thinking about my future, about the future of my family, my kids. Thinking about I think he's gonna do something special with our life, Having have been into many different process, when I was little, I was kind of suffering a lot since I have knowledge. I remember when I was 6 years old. When I was 6 years old, my mother and my father had been separate. They separate. Of it, they is separate, and it was kind of rough. It's kind of rough. Like it was incredible. It was crazy. My father and my mother, they fight. They fighting too much. They fighting too much against each other. And my mother and my father, they decided to separate of each other. I was little in the time, 6 years old. I had another two brothers. One of them was 5 years old, and the other one was 4. So the other one was 3, 5, and 6. That was me, the first kid in the family. I remember that night, what's going on. My mother and my father getting arguing, super bad, like crazy. Fighting against each other, like, hey, what the heck, doing a lot of cars and all that stuff. Like, we saw that situation, and then they ended fighting physically. And since in that thing, since in that time, I said in my life, I never want to be like that, If I want to have a relationship, I'm never gonna be like that, fighting against each other, fighting physically, and that's not good, If you're fighting with your couple, physically, I think you are in the wrong spot. You have to change your lifestyle. You have to put your head together. You have to put your feet together and thinking about what are you doing. Fighting physically leave mark on your life and in the other people's life, because even your kid, even if you fight in front of your kid, you don't do that when you have you have a problem with your wife, you have a problem with your husband. You don't fight in front of your kids, because they can cause some kind of traumas in your family, especially in the little one. You don't do that, And I know as many people like that, fighting in front of the kids, cursing in front of the kid. What kind of shit is that, You guys, you have that thing, don't do that, You're gonna make your kids, suffer. And yeah. So my life was rough when I was little. It's a long history. My mom, my dad get separate. So since that thing happened, I go to my grandpa's. We go to my grandparents' house, and they raising us there in my grandpa's house. It was kind of hard too, because my grandma, she have a son, same age as me, and obviously they're gonna look us like different. Everybody say, oh no, that I saw my grandkids some type of way, But when you have a kid on the same age, I can guarantee you're not gonna see the other one. Like, I don't know how my grandma was, but it was so hard because she even like say, oh, you guys come over here and just eat all the food, just eat all the chicken, all the rice. Every time that I come over here, I see you guys in the chicken eating and all that kind of stuff, like things like that. And that left me a mark in my heart, like how people can be like that. So now when I saw kids, around there, when I saw kids in my house, when I saw kids everywhere, they're kids. They want to try everything. They want it, candies. They want this. They want that. They want, They're starving all the time. You have a kid. You guys have a kids. You understand what I say. Like kids want everything, man. You don't say no to the kids. You don't say no. Well, only if they're eating way too much candy. Obviously, we have to put some limitation on them. But if they really are hungry, not for candy, just food. You don't say no to them. You don't say no to the kids. So my grandma was like kind of special woman. Like she tell us like, oh, you guys come over here just to eat the food, and you guys don't, like, kind of, I don't know how to say that in English, but like it's like kind of example is I give you something, a couple minutes after I'm gonna say, hey, I give you the remember, I give you that remember, like bring it out, bring it out, whatever that I give into you. That I think that was my grandma, like acting like that. She always bring it up, whatever she do for us. She always bring it up, like like, oh, you guys eating our food, like things like that. And it was so crazy, it was so crazy. And sometimes I go into my room. Cause I remember we have our own room. Yes, we have our own room, but we have only one bed in that room. It was like, I don't know. It was like oldly ass bed, like those beds that have a lot of little pieces of metals, and they have some springs and all that, like that you can those beds you can fold, you can folding, like you folding and completely you have a bed out of the space, and when you unfold the bed, you can put it down. So we had those type of bed like that, and I share bed, and I share my bed with my brother, And sometimes when those things happen, when my grandma acting like that, I was go over there and crying and asking God why, why I had to be in that position, Because believe me or not, kids have feelings too. People say, oh no, they're a kid, they don't know. They know, kids, they know. Kids, they don't dumb. Kids know everything what's going on around us. So I remember that, and sometimes I was crying, and asking God, why me? Why I have to be growing up without my parents, And yeah, like I say, it's like long history, because it's like pretty much like 14 years, not like kind of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, like 8 years living like that, So when I go to my grandma's house, I go to the school, and at that time we were poor, and that time is super poor, and I told my teacher, okay, I'm coming to school, I don't have no shoes, I had to go to school without shoes, of course. I don't feel bad to say, I don't get like, oh yeah, that thing don't push me down, So I go to the school without shoes, and in that time we don't even have a backpack, many of the other kids, they have backpacks, they had good shoes, they had new clothes. In my case, it was different because I don't have no shoes, I don't have no backpack. I remember my backpack was, my backpack. It was it's a plastic bag from Walmart, something like that, And I put my books there. I put my sharpener, my razor, and my pens, And that was my backpack in that time. So, like I say, I was I was so poor. And I remember that time because I was so embarrassing to go to the school without shoes that I quit. I left the school that year. I was in the first grade, 6 years old. I left the school, and because I was embarrassing because I got to the school without shoes. Well, time passed, and then I go back to the school again. I got a new pair of shoes, very nice. I love those shoes. And I started to go to school, obviously with no backpack again. My old pants from years, for a year behind, I guess. So I used the same one. So in that time I go into school, like I passed the first grade, second grade with the same shoes. Luckily my foot, it was not that big. So those very shoes, endured me like for 1 year, I guess, or a little bit more. So until they ripped. So I go to school with my shoes ripped, my socks coming out from front of my shoes, and that was like, well, now that I remember, it was funny, and that time it wasn't, because I want to have a nice shoes. I want to have a nice, bicycle. I don't even have bicycle at the time. I wish I can have, I wish I can have any good stuff. So my shoes, it was all ripped, so still going to the school like that. And kids supporting, my grandma, because my grandpa is another thing, he was so good with us. So going to the school, 8 year to second grade, third grade, fourth grade. So in the fifth grade, I was like 10 or 11 years old, and I always like to, I love, because I love work. Why? Because my grandpa take us every single time, to his farm, and we working there, we working, growing up some corn, beans, and any type of vegetable that you can guys imagine, So we're learning all that, and our grandpa show us, we have to working for our money. We don't want to make it easy money, because easy money, he say, always bring a problem. Obviously, I trying to make it easy money over here in YouTube, with my videos and my history and all that stuff. But the main reason that I do this is because I want to help poor people, and I'm not rich yet. I'm gonna be rich, yes, in the future. I don't know when, but I'm gonna be. Why? Because I had a mentality to be rich. And yeah, I remember, going to my grandpa, working there, and obviously they don't pay us because we eating their food, we eating everything on his house. It was so hard for them. Obviously, it's not their responsibility. It was supposed to be my mom and my dad's responsibility, but they don't care. Well, obviously my mom, she always been there, My dad, it was like, he left. So I remember, I started to working, on a farmers, jalapenos, pepper, So when I was little, I remember they pay us like, a bucket. I think it was 11 pesos the bucket. So I was like 10 years old, and I've been there. As soon as I get up from the school, I go to those farms and start picking up jalapeno pepper, and they pay us for a bucket, and I was so fast. I get in a big, a big shirt, and I put it in my mouth and start cutting on all those peppers. And yeah, I was so fast, and sometimes I made like 30 buckets. It was a lot of money. So I was a really hard working kid since I was little. Well, the time was passing, I've been in many different works. I've been in a mechanical shop for cars, mechanical car. And yeah, learning a lot. To be honest with you guys, I'm learning a lot. And then I've been a welding shop too, so I'm learning how to weld. And now in this day, I use all my skills, my mechanical skill, I use, my farmer skill and all that stuff, So I'm super smart, And I'm also learning new things over here in California, even in Georgia too, because I was, all that, because I'm always being a hard worker. So that thing helped me up, and they put me in different positions, So I was a supervisor constructor company over there in Georgia. So, and I use those skills too, being a machinery operator for printing machines industries. Those are huge machines. I know how to run those machines too. So I learned how to do mechanical stuff on those machines, kind of industrial mechanical, So I'm learning a lot from the mechanic that been there. So now I'm trying to use those skills everywhere I go, Everywhere I go, I use my skill, even when I do my own business, So now I'm learning another thing is like I'm a sales rep of my own business. I can guarantee you, God bless me a lot. Even as I was suffering before those. So this one my company. Look, this is my company, United Window Fashion. This is what I do over here in Southern California. So I remember, like being hardworking since I was little. And I gotta tell you guys, I've been suffering. I had to explain a little bit more deeper my history, and there's gonna be one of these videos coming out in the future. And believe me, if you have a dream and you're working for it, you're gonna complete it. Don't let nobody push you down, Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Why? Because we have that, we have the mentality to be successful. I remember when I was 29, I guess, me and my wife, we living in the little ass house, super little house, like very little, like only one bedroom house over here in California, the kitchen and the living room. It's kind of little apartment. It was a back house, There's a big house in the front and the little one in the backyard. And we lived there for a good 4 years, I guess, 3 years, something like that. And I'm gonna tell you guys, we have in our mind, we need to buy a house. When I met my wife, we both have a lot of little details that we had to sharpen, like economically, fixing some little thing here and there, and we have our past, and some past, they let you in the way, some bad stuff that you had to deal with, and yeah, thanks God, we're getting smart enough to solve all those problems, thanks God, we be able to buy a house last year. We're gonna have two years in the house now that we buy. It's a beautiful house. I love my house. I love it. I love it. I love it. And always I see my house. I wanna go out there and cooking in my grill. Why? Because I love to be in my house. You know, I love my house. And you know, when we got the house, my wife told me this. You know, oh, since we started today, we're gonna start eating just ramen noodle soups. And I say, okay. And you know, we say that because you know, obviously the house is super expensive, very expensive. The rent, the monthly mortgage is, oh my God. We're living in the nice area. You know, we're living in the nice area. It's a community thing in there. But you know, like I had the opportunity to have my kids in the better schools. I had the opportunity to have my kids, you know, in the better area. They can be safe playing around out there, you know. And yeah, things going like that all the time. And I believe so, you know. I believe so. It's a blessing from my God, blessing for God. He is in the heaven, and I know there's a lot of people they're gonna you know start like saying like stuff, you know. Oh no, you know, but they're gonna try to be against you, you know. If they're gonna see me over here doing some YouTube videos, you know, doing some YouTube live, they're gonna jump up and say like, oh, why do you do that? Why do you do that? Like, let me tell you something. When God is on your side, don't worry about anything else. If Jesus Christ is in your side, He's gonna open the way, and then you're gonna be in the top, and you're gonna say like, oh, I made it, thanks to God. And never forget about Him. Never forget about God. Never forget about the people. We have to keep pushing ourselves, not just because we're gonna be a YouTuber and we're gonna be famous and we're gonna be rich. We have to keep going and doing, you know, our things very, very, very good for our God. Why? Because God is an awesome God. You know, remember that God is an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God. Remember that, you know. I'm like I say, I feel so good. I feel so blessed. Why? Because you know, He has control over us, and He know anything. He know anything. He know anything. Let's make this dream come possible. I need you guys support. I need your support. I know my English is not like perfect, but I'm gonna tell you this, you know. No matter what is the difficult on our way, we're gonna jump in the bars and we're gonna be a winners. Not be a winnie. Don't be a winner. We're gonna be a winners. Why? Because we are a child of God. Because we are the child of God. You know, we are. So we have to do what we have to do to be able to do our good things. You know, God is good. He's gonna be good today. He's gonna be good tomorrow. He's gonna be good tomorrow. You know, after tomorrow, He's gonna be good forever. The only thing that He needed for us is our humanity, our hearts, and that's it. Don't worry about anything else. You don't have money, it's okay. He gonna see you the same that he used to see you. You know. If you have money, don't worry. He gonna see you. You know, same way. Righteousness not made different between you and God. Righteousness is the blessing from God to be able to help people, not to bring people down. No, if God make you rich, if God give you the opportunity to have your own business, to be rich, use that power to push down. You know, it's okay. It's okay. You have to enjoy also, but you have to have a lot of care. Alright, mis amigos, se me cuidan de mí.